Hey, what's up everybody? This is Crystal Digital Rim. Welcome back. I'm glad you're here. Again, this is the continuance of the Blender lessons and tutorials that we're going to cover. So in this lesson, we're going to cover how to add objects to your 3D scene. Simple as that. Give you a quick rundown of what we're going to do. We're going to add an object to your scene. We're going to show you how to edit the mesh, and then we're going to show you the differing or some of the varying editing tools that you'll use on a day-to-day when modeling in Blender. So I'm going to just skip the talk and the introduction, and we're just going to hop right into it. Alright, so we have Blender pulled up here. This is usually your typical splash screen. So we're just going to go ahead just click on here. Now, essentially your Blender scene will come default looking similar to this. I have a few add-ons, but we'll cover that in another lesson what add-ons are. But your scene usually comes with this box in the middle, which is what would be considered your mesh or a 3D object. I'm going to show you how to add more of these to your scene. So first things first, I definitely would have to show you how to move this 3D object. As you see, you can left click on it and it selects, but then you have the question of how do I move that object? So you can do that multiple ways in Blender. One of the ways being you can go to the tools on the left side and click the move tool, where you'll see the arrows pop up and you'll be able to move it, on the different axes. So the axis being the Z axis being up, the Y axis being the depth, and then the X axis being left and right on the scene usually. So it would be more like this as far as axes go. And the axes are represented over here, and you can click and hold and move around in perspective view here. So that's how you would move an object. But this lesson is more about how you would create an object or a new object, and what objects are available to you, or mesh objects are available to you within Blender. So let's just cover some of the mesh objects that are available to you, and then we'll I'm sure there'll be more questions about other objects or other things you can add to the scene, and we'll cover that in future lessons. But let's keep it simple and stick to just the base mesh objects that you can add to your scene. So how to get to the new objects. So what you want to do is just go up here to the left side little toolbar here and just hit add. And once you hit add, you can see it's a mesh. You have all of these different options of what you can add, and that's kind of what I was alluding to. There's multiple things you can add to your scene, but right now we want to just focus on mesh and just get you familiar with where to find things to add, which we just did, but where to find things to add, but then where to find objects or mesh objects that you can add to your scene. So we're just going to go again to add mesh, and you can pick through all of these different options. So plane, a plane being this, and I'm doing the quick the hotkeys for how to scale, move, and rotate things. But if you don't know the hotkeys for scale, move, and rotate, again, you could go right over here to the toolbar and you can see move, rotate, scale, and you can pretty much select it the traditional way of just using the toolbar. And again, you can also hover over the actual tool, and you can see it says the shortcut. It'll pop back up in a second, but it says the shortcut is G or shift spacebar. So you can push G or shift spacebar, which I will be doing is pushing G, and then for scale I will be pushing S, and then for anything else like rotate is usually R. Or you can select this one, which has all of the editing tools on it. So this is creating a base plane. You can scale it up, and usually this would be considered like maybe your floor or your surface, and that's usually how you would use something like this, or just at a starter point. You can use the mesh in so many different ways, but from a beginner's point of view, I'm definitely trying to keep it simple. Where I started, I'm gonna hide this, and then we'll cover how to hide things in later lessons. But I'm trying to keep it simple for a beginner, just how I got started and how I became to the understanding where things are at. So again, so we have a floor here. I'm going to you can see over here in your, there's a, where your viewport render, and you can definitely change your viewport render to something a little more, we're gonna create something a little more, I don't wanna say realistic, but that looks a little different. Actually, let's just keep it the same. Let's just keep it the same, because pretty much this is probably how your scene is going to look default in Blender. So I just want to keep it the same, not to make it more confusing. So again, we did a plane. So let's go ahead and add mesh. You can do another cube, and if you notice, wherever this little red and white cursor is where your object will pop up. So essentially, that's anywhere you see that, that's your point of focus or point of interest, that your 3D object will pop up. So again, we're going to do another object. Add. We're going to do a circle here, and the circle you can see is a little different. The circle is kind of different. We're going to rotate this circle just so we can see. We're going to rotate it just so we can see what it looks like here. That rotate was pretty much off. We're going to rotate it like so. Try that rotate again now. Put it on local, and we'll cover this in another lesson, but I was basically where you can transform from different points. So you can use this to transform from different points. So you can transform from here or transform from any other area that you kind of set up, but you get more of an understanding as we use Blender. So we're not going to cover that in this lesson, but we're just going to go ahead and use local. So it's going to use its local information to calculate this rotation. So I'm going to rotate on 90 degrees just like that. Now what can we do here? So I'm trying not to make it too difficult, which I might just end up not even using a circle. Let's just not use a circle for now, because a circle would encompass more. Actually, let's use a circle. So if you have a circle, you can go into edit mode. So if you go over here and there's a drop down menu, you can see edit mode. Also, you can hit tab or however you have your selection made, and tab will toggle between edit mode and object mode. So you want to be in edit mode to edit these things or edit these meshes. So essentially you can select this by left clicking select and use the move tool. We're going to just go ahead and use the tool, and you can drag, and you see it drags that point. And a better representation of that, let's do that on the, go back into object mode, and let's go ahead and grab a square. But you can go into edit mode by hitting tab, and you can drag this point, and you see the shape changes in comparison to the previous square or box. So that's that. Cube, not box, but cube. So essentially you can go into edit mode with this circle here, and let's say we want to select all the points. And what you can do when you're in edit mode, you have these options of right clicking, and you get all of these options that help you edit your mesh even more. So what we want to do is go ahead and fill this hole in. So edit, and then we want to do a fill. So it's somewhere up in here. But if you don't find it in the for the right click, then you have all of these other editing tools that you can, or options, the drop down menus that you can choose from. So what we want to do is create a face. So we essentially go into objects and we create a face. Like that's exactly what we do, and then fill, and it will fill our face in just like that. And now you fill the area of your mesh. Now this isn't the ideal way of doing it, but again, this is a simple introduction of how to fill in a mesh here. Also, if you do actually, I guess it will be the more ideal way to do it, is if you go to face, and I believe there's a quad fill, grid fill, and you can do a grid fill and it'll fill it the correct way, like so. As you can see the mesh there. All right, so let's just do one more object. So we're gonna add mesh. We can do the monkey, maybe. I believe her name was Lucy or something like that, but the monkey. And you can see this will be more when you're at a more of a more advanced model. Once you start modeling these things around, you can definitely now, when you go into edit mode, you can select these points, and you know, let's say we want her nose to be bigger. You know, you just grab the points and make her nose bigger. Simple as that. But not only can you grab points, you can also grab go up here next to the edit mode in your options on the left side, you can grab the edges. So let's grab, you know, one of these edges on the top of her head. Let's say two of these edges. And if you want to select multiple edges, just hold down shift and click, and you can select multiple edges, and you can drag those edges up just like that. So we're moving, editing the mesh here. You can also grab faces. So faces being, if you grab this whole, you know, all of these 4 points or these 4 edges or these 4 vertices make one face. So you can grab faces here. So let's say we grab the back of his head for now, and just go ahead and pull the back of his head out like that. See? And now you start to create your shape, you know. All right, so pretty much let's copy out of the scene. So pretty much that's basically how you create a mesh. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Definitely get in here, hit the add button, select the things, and just start to play around with editing them and see what you come up with for now. But this is just a beginner lesson to how to add a mesh to your scene. So I hope this is helpful for you, and then we'll move on to the next lesson. So stay tuned. Look forward to seeing you then. Peace, y'all. Bye.